Welcome Diecast fans, I'm Tom Spanners Watson.
And I'm Frank the Geary Gibbs.
And welcome to round 3, group 7 and 8 of the Gravity Chaos Rallycross Championship.
Currently Sam Hall there at the top of the table with 138 points, but tonight we've got the leader who came into round 3, EP Video's Big Cat on 94 points, and he's going to have a pretty sweet run if he's hoping to catch up to Sam Hall.
Alright, let's take a look at the drivers tonight. Obviously you mentioned Big Cat there coming in with 94 points. Then we've got JB, Nick and Wiz.
Now unfortunately Wiz wasn't able to post a qualifying time because he just had trouble on the track, but he did successfully graduate from the Boganeer Flying Academy, and they were so impressed with him they even named a mover after him.
Alright, well I'm pretty sure Big Cat's going to be nervous out on the track for the first time. Here we go, he's into the lead early. Then we've got Nick chasing him down. Nick spun around somehow in those narrow lanes. I'm not sure what's going on there, but Big Cat trying to make the most of his lead at the moment, but it looks like Nick is reeling him in.
I certainly don't think he's going to have an easy go of it, but at least he gets up Magnus Mountain nice and clean.
And here comes Nick, still in reverse, chasing him down. He's closing right up on Big Cat. Let's hope they don't tangle up before the finish line. Big Cat stays in the lead and crosses the finish line for the win. Nick in second, Wiz in third, and JB in fourth.
They're about 4 seconds behind Mr. Dark's time, but a win is a win, and well done Big Cat. You clock up 13 points on your first outing. That's really going to help towards your overall goal.
Alright, so everybody's had a chance to shake the nerves out. Everybody managed to make it down the track, so that's a good start. Now we've got JB in lane number 1, Nick next to him, Wiz in lane 3, and Big Cat all the way out on the wings in lane number 4. As we get underway for race 2, and it looks like Wiz has crashed out, and down goes JB. That is not a good start for them.
Can't believe a Subaru and a Civic have gone down already. I was expecting those boys to be out in the lead.
Well, there is a Subaru out in the lead, and that is Big Cat. Nick chasing him down again. Big Cat nice and clean, and it looks like we might have lost Nick as well. Big Cat unhindered all the way to the finish line. Looks like he is gonna post a better time than the last race, and he shaved just over a second off that last race. But Nick, I'm not sure what happened to him. Oh, and we've got a Bogan down, we've got JB down, and what the heck happened to the Wiz?
Let's just go back through the replay. Keep your eye on the Wiz in lane number 3. It looks like he tried to mount the centre barrier, and I don't know if he bounced off EP or not, but that was his race done, and he rolled back. And then, speaking of rolling, old JB couldn't keep it together and got his rear end up on the centre barrier and flipped over. And check out the Bogan going flying after Big Cat goes through. He was leaning down to tie his shoelaces and got hit, and that just turned him into a speed bump for poor old Nick, who slammed into tuck and roll corner.
Normally I'd say that'd be a horrendous brain injury from an accident like that, but 1, he's a Bogan, and 2, he had his hat on, so I'm sure he's fine.
That's true. As they say, nothing protects you quite like a flat-peaked cat.
So even potentially with blood all over his windscreen, Big Cat chalks up 2 wins from 2 races, 1 from lane 1 and 1 from lane 4. He couldn't ask for a better start than that.
Well, let's just hope he doesn't get tangled up with some slow cars or launched off tuck and roll corner in these next races.
Thanks, Frankie foreshadowing.
Well, you know, I mean, he's just doing so well so far. It'd be a shame if that happened to him.
Okay, if you've finished jinxing Big Cat, we'll get underway for race number 3. And it looks like the Wiz got a little bit sideways, Nick in the lead, but I think EP Videos is going to take it again. Yes, he does. That Subaru is fired up. You can see how straight it runs down the highway. That is a huge advantage to him.
Yeah, we've said all along, consistency is the key. He was consistent at Gravity Throttle Racing, and he's doing a fantastic job again here. This is going to be 3 from 3.
As long as he can stay out of trouble in this last straight, and he looks good, and he takes the win. Now we've got Nick, and that's the Wiz coming in for 3rd place, and unfortunately JB stalling out before the first checkpoint.
Now I think you might have missed this in the initial race there, but the Bogan baby looked like he tried to jump down on top of Big Cat and maybe slow him down.
Well, maybe Sam Hall paid him off, because Big Cat is closing in. Sam Hall has 138 points, Big Cat 133, and 3 wins from 3 starts. That is phenomenal.
I wonder if he's going to be able to go 4 from 4.
Oh, I don't know. Lane 2, not the winningest lane of all of them. We've got JB in lane 3. Nick, who's been fast, is out on lane 4, and Wiz in lane number 1. Anything could happen.
Well, he's looking pretty good so far. Nice and clean down the Devil's Staircase and out into the lead for the 4th time.
That's true, but remember, this is Chaos Canyon and anything can happen between now and the finish line. It's not safe till you're over that line.
That's true, but I've got to say, Big Cat is so consistent on this track. I'm sure he's got this one in the bag.
Stop trying to jinx him, Frank. For God's sake. Here he comes, and he takes the 4th win. 4 wins from 4 starts, JB in second place, Wiz in third place, and Nick parked up under the overpass. That is an absolute masterclass by Big Cat from EP Videos, and he cranks out 146 total points.
Well, he definitely showed everybody why he was at the top of the list coming into round 3. He's proved it wasn't a fluke at Gravity Throttle Racing, and he's even managed to open the gap over Sam Hall from 1 point to 8 points. That's a great lead going into the final rounds.
And speaking of the final rounds, make sure you stick around to the end of the video where we'll talk you through how the final rounds are gonna work. Alright, it's time for a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
No matter where you run, no matter why you run, doesn't matter if you're alone or with the crowd, we'll help you all the way to the end of your journey. The Year in Asshole, the perfect shoe for all seasons.
And it's time for the best in show. Mr. Dark and Lone Star unfortunately eliminated. Now, it doesn't matter if you voted before or not. This is a fresh round of voting, so vote for one of the 5 cars left by leaving the driver name or the car number in the comments.
And the drivers are allowed to vote for themselves too.
Alright, this is the final group. In round number 3, we got Skux Bogan, Marco Polo, Mad Mullet, and Puff.
Unfortunately, Mad Mullet wasn't able to post a time during the time trials, so hopefully he can get across that line today.
And I wonder if Puff's been back to the Bogan Air Flying Academy to finish off his training. He certainly mastered the Puff of Air, but couldn't quite get the whiz down.
So far, I think Mr. Dark's the closest to that one.
And speaking of close, Marco Polo and Skux Bogan having a heck of a battle through the Devil's Staircase. I don't know how Marco Polo managed to slip by him, but Skux Bogan is not going to let him go. He is all over the rear end of Marco Polo there.
Marco sent through the joke lane, and here comes Skux Bogan.
Oh, they are banging doors all the way to the finish here. Skux looking for an opening, Marco Polo not giving him one, and Marco Polo holds on.
It looks like Mad Mullet and Puff might be holding on to each other there as well. But you're right, as they go down the Devil's Staircase, Marco Polo just squeezes through the tiniest gap, keeps it under control so nicely, and if you saw Mad Mullet going over the jump, lands on 2 wheels, that spun him around, and then going down the highway, both he and Puff spun out, and they just parked up together.
Certainly a disappointing run for those guys, and they need to cross more checkpoints if they want to get out of last place. But congratulations, Marco Polo. That was a fantastic run. It lifts his score from 77 to 90. Skux Bogan from 89 to 99. And the other two only adding on 2 points for the checkpoints they passed.
That was great work from Marco Polo to pick up the win from lane 2. Let's see if he's got it in him to take it from lane 1 this time, as Skux Bogan's out on lane 4.
Well, it looks like Mad Mullet's finally found the accelerator, gets into the lead, but he gets a wiggle on. That allows Puff to go flying past.
Looks like Puff not only found the accelerator, but he also found top gear.
Well, he's definitely feeding it the jandal because he needs to get some points on the board after that last race. And I'm not sure what's happened to the other 3. That looks like Marco Polo coming through in second, and he is doing everything he can to catch up to Puff.
You know what they say? Puff, puff, pass.
I'm pretty sure this isn't what they were referring to, but Puff holds on for first place, Marco Polo in second, and finally Mad Mullet makes it all the way down the track.
Although he was in second place, so what happened to him? He goes down the highway and just completely spins out. I don't know if he cranked on the handbrake or what. Skux Bogan did a fantastic job of overtaking him there, and that overtake gave him a couple of extra points, so he now moves up to 108. Marco Polo up to 100. Mad Mullet finally moves up to 62. And Puff, with that win, moves up to 60.
Marco Polo, very solid start. 1 win, 1 second place. Not quite as good as Big Cat, but still a great performance so far.
The only other driver we've had with a record like Big Cat was Rubber Toe, who interestingly also drove a Subaru.
Looks like Puff's going to take the early lead. Mad Mullet goes down. He got caught up on that sidewall. Then Skux Bogan, Marco Polo just blitz right on by Puff like he's standing still.
These two boys are definitely leading the way in this group. Skux Bogan now with the lead, and I know Marco Polo will want to get by him, but I just don't know if he's going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I think Skux has got too big a lead at this stage unless something happens in this last corner, but Skux Bogan holds on to it. and a pretty quick time overall at 30.536. Still a couple of seconds slower than Mr. Dark, but at least they're finishing races.
Yeah, Mad Mullet driving like a Mad Mullet there. Just drifted a little bit wide, clipped that centre barrier, and that was enough to flip him over. And then check out Puff here. He just lazily drifts across to the right, which reminds me a lot of Han Solo's moves to get rid of the Destroyer in the original Star Wars.
Yeah, similar, but he went left, not right. But back to the scoreboard. A great effort here from Skux Bogan and Marco Polo just racking up the points. Skux on 121, Marco Polo on 110. Both those guys still very much in contention for the next round.
Yeah, they certainly stay within striking distance of Big Cat, unless he's going to pull out another perfect race, but I find that hard to believe.
Well, it was a little bit easier on him this time because he was with the slower drivers, and his next round's going to be much more of a challenge. But Marco Polo feeding it some jandle going down the highway opens up a huge lead over the rest of the field. He wants those maximum points through the Joker lane nice and clean. No one even in his rearview mirror at this point, and looks like he's going to pick up the 13 points, but he does have someone chasing him down. Oh, that's Puff coming through for second, Skux Bogan third, and Mad Mullet spins out.
Now just check out Puff in lane number 1 there, bouncing around as he goes down the Devil's Staircase up on 2 wheels, but he manages to keep it together quite nicely.
Yeah, but Marco Polo just stormed right on by him as they hit the highway. And with that, Marco Polo picks up 2 wins and 2 second places. That's second only in points tonight to Big Cat, who had a perfect run.
Yeah, that was a great effort from Marco Polo, and that's lifted him from obscurity, being almost 20 points behind, to now being within striking distance and being in the top 4 point scorers.
And so after 3 epic rounds of racing, we get ready for the final rounds to set those final points. So here are your groups. You'll see the pink box lighting up around the drivers that we grouped together. So keep an eye on where you're going to be in the next round, and we're going to start from the bottom of those points and work our way up.
That's right. Round 3 was a little bit easier because you were paired with slower drivers, but now you're going up against drivers that are essentially the same skill and same point level as you are.
And with some big points put on the board tonight, unfortunately, basically if you're under 100 points, it's pretty unlikely you've got a chance of winning, but there's still bragging rights, there is still the best in show, and we've got some other rewards that we'll be announcing at the end of the racing as well, so make sure you watch all of these rounds and support these drivers.
And don't forget to give your vote for the best in show. It doesn't matter if you voted before, it's a fresh round of voting.
And another huge congratulations to Big Cat for an awesome effort and a perfect score. Alright, that's enough from us tonight. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Tom Spanners Watson, he's Frank the Guru Gibbs. We'll see you next time.